Hello, we are Group 3. Impressed by the historical buildings and diverse lifestyle of the south side of Edinburgh in the digital collection, we aim to design a mini-game to bring the players back to Edinburgh 100 years ago to explore a fancy experience, so as to form a new interesting and vivid way of engagement in the history and local community.
In the context of the digital age, museums are actively exploring the new and vivid ways of engagement, and game has become one of the popular choices among them. Dean has identified 6 different types of museum online educational games for us, and interactive reference is one of the most popular types among them, which normally provides a large amount of informative text, images, audios, and animations for players to experience. The event mapping project shown on the slide is a typical example of interactive reference game where users can travel the Valley of the King online. Soundscape is defined as the combination of the sounds generated by the surrounding environment. Through the literature review, we found that sound design, or more specifically, soundscape, is beneficial to improve the immersion of the game, as well as improve the engagement of players. Besides, we summarize that creating a new and engaging game experience of streetscape in the past can somehow improve the sense of community of players in the end. In this process, the two-way relationship between people and community is essential. This inspired us that the platform for connecting players in this game community may be needed to make players feel more engaged and involved. And these are the summaries of conclusions that we made in the theory section.
Based on our expectations of the game, we designed a few functions with 3 modules for our target users who are interested in the south side of Edinburgh. In game design, we apply the interactive reference by using old photos, hand-drawn maps, songs, and other elements to invoke the player's multimodal senses. We advocate sound design that the player hears the change and difference in the volume of left and right sound channels. In addition, calling on people to pay attention to the details in the historical moments could be regarded as a deconstructionism of these historical photos. A few historic landmarks allow players to quickly connect with reality, explore the game, and immerse in contents in their familiar places without worries. At the same time, we advocate the use of conventions on the main map. Easter eggs are the most attractive and challenging goal. This function will not only allow players to complete the goal, but also help them discover more details in the photos along the way. We want to build an emotional connection among the community, and message board is one of the ways to make habitants feel more involved in the community. Then it's time to realize our ideas. There are 137 old photos in the dataset, and as a whole, those images include not only buildings, but also shops, people, cars, horses, and other elements that might produce songs, which add richness and playfulness to our game. Taking into account that the complexity of the hand-painted buildings, the shooting angles, the richness of songs in each image, and their locations on the map, we selected 7 photos with historical significance and plentiful songs after looking through the dataset. We try to use relevant elements to reproduce the songs and the situation in the photos, so that our game players can immerse in the scene. In the process of sound integration, we also purposely exported sound files dual channel, which worked wonders in the production of the game.
Let's talk about the visual design part. The overall visual style of the project is art collage, which combines old photos from the datasets and hand-painted illustrations. We use warm yellow and grayish-brown as the main color system to emphasize the retro and vintage atmosphere. We used the old photos of southern Edinburgh in the dataset as the template to draw these old buildings by Procreate tab. and we color the illustrations of these buildings by observing pictures of their recent appearances of these buildings. For the map design, we made a variety of attempts at the beginning. Based on Google Maps and the old map in dataset, the route map and area of a map are drawn with Adobe Illustrator. We emphasize contrast of illustration styles, colors, and times to enhance the visual impact. Tiny elements such as green trees and streetlights are added to increase the details of the whole map. Also, icons of landmarks of Edinburgh on the map are drawn through Adobe Illustrator according to the characteristics of these famous buildings. Icon design also mainly revolves around the two keywords of retro and adventure. The damaged wood and damaged map are the main background frames, and at the same time, the color of the materials conforms to the main visual tone. The hand-painted architectural illustrations are combined with the clay part elements in the old photos to design stamps, which represent the players has unlocked the building. The interface design also emphasized the retro, shabby visual expression. The contrast between the past and the recent is shown through the damaged map with wooden frames and the open books with stamps.
So here comes the development of game and sound visualization. We choose Unity as our development platform because it is an easy-to-use game engine that supports multi-platform release, and there are various learning resources online. Then we add all the art materials into our project and wrote scripts for each game object and UIs to connect everything together. We also add various detailed functions. For example, the pointer becomes a hand shape when hovering over a clickable element. A text appears when an Easter egg is found. We add sound properties for different buildings and clip art elements. And because there is no sound in the public show, we also visualize them based on the sound frequency and the sound volume to provide a better experience for our audience in the public show. And finally, we publish our game into the Unity website. We add our sound visualization into the final video. We also wrote a vivid story for the project from first-person perspective and edited the video by AE.
In order to conduct evaluation process, we refer to the 5 components given by Dean to assess our game. Firstly, Dean suggests that game needs to be immersive, so we added visual and sound design to build up an immersive game experience. Our gameplay is around soundscape as mentioned, which is clearly defined to ensure the playability, and the gameplay guide is also added at the beginning of the game to avoid unsmooth game experience due to misunderstanding. A goal of restoring the complete map is clearly set, and Easter eggs are embedded in the game, which can be attractive for players to explore. We also ensure that the progress can be easily checked by designing different status of buildings and clay parts. And the interactive reference is the chosen game type that suits our aim. Message boards are also added to create the two-way relationship and chance to engage in the community. Thank you for your listening.